I'm joined today by my colleague, Kat Covell.
Hey, Will Murphy.
We are here today to discuss the very new, long-anticipated version 3.3 software that has come out. We have a pile of features that we're going to run through. I'm probably going to talk really quick, but it's going to be fun and exciting. So I hope you're excited. First off, you can see right behind me, I decided I would start with the fixture share. This is something we're all very excited about because I move my window over a little bit. You all are probably very familiar with MA-share.net. So this is the forums for MA. You have the forum where you can discuss about features, etc. for Grand MA1. Then we have the forum for Grand MA2. I would definitely urge you to visit there. Lots of useful information, lots of activity on there on a daily basis, and it helps connect you to the worldwide community. Now, you used to click this button, Fixture Share, which would actually take you to the Fixture Archive. So first off, I would like you to recognize that there is a new link here called Fixture Archive. All the existing fixture profiles from the entire history of Grand MA2 are still in the Fixture Archive. So if you're using versions older than 3.3, it's probably a good idea to go here. Also, if there were some recent fixtures, say in the last 6 months or 1 year, it might be best to still go here. Just remember, it's the Fixture Archive. Now, when you go to Fixture Share, what you're going to find is the new cloud-based database for the Fixture Share. One of the most exciting functionalities of this particular site is that MA will be able to update their fixture library every 3 months. So historically, you've had to wait for a release of software in order to update the internal library. Now you will see that internal library, which we receive from Caroline, will be updated every 3 months and available on this fixture share. Furthermore, all those fixture profiles that are made by MA International, by ACK Lighting, by Ambisphere, by other MA distributors in the world, and by users alike, those are going to be posted up here as well. One of the neat things is you can search by manufacturer, filter modes, revisions, and the user setting is where you're going to be able to search fixture profiles that were posted by users. So I know some of you were used to looking for fixture profiles that on MA Share that have been made by ACK Lighting. You're going to be able to search for anything that we post by the user if you want. In terms of how this works, I would generally prefer typing in search, but I'll just start with the general. You go to Claypaky, which would be the manufacturer, and Claypaky makes a lot of fixtures, so apparently I'm going to get stuck with this waiting for server. I always love it when you're doing a demo and something gets stuck on the screen because of some internet connection. So we'll try to refresh that. There we go. So if you were to go to Stormy, you're going to see both modes here. If you go to the Sharpie Wash, you're going to see all 4 modes for the Sharpie Wash. And if we go to Vector Lamp On, you actually see there are 2 different fixture profiles that correlate with the Sharpie Wash, and one indicates that it's a library update. You'll actually see there's a tag here that's telling you that this is auto-generated. So this is actually from Caroline, whereas you might have a revision that's approved by someone from MA who actually touched it. You're going to have a tag that tells you if somebody actually tested it in MA3D, meaning it works as best as possible in MA3D. And you're going to have a little tag here that would tell you if it's been tested in real life. So since these are auto-generated, none of the users have flagged any of these other tags. But if we make a fixture profile for a Sharpie and we test it in our demo space and we upload it, we would tag it that it's tested with a real fixture. You're going to see the footprint really cool feature, you'll be able to add comments now finally. So if we post a fixture profile and maybe there's a problem with it, you can post a comment there so that we know how to fix it, what went actually wrong. In terms of the search functionality, just search for Sharpie and you get a giant list of what might exist. It's very similar to the search function that you might see in the console as well. Now, I forgot to show something. What did I forget to show? The heart. There's this revision over here. This is your favorites. So since you have an account with this fixture share, you can check this off as one of your favorites, which means it's going to show up on your favorites list via this folder in the corner. So the beauty of this is that if you find a fixture profile in here and you like it, it's your favorite, right? It shows up in your favorites list, and click to download multiple files is under maintenance. Fortunately, they must be doing an update right now because this worked yesterday. You'll be able to click to download multiple files and get the choice of download my favorites, download the new library. I said it updates every 3 months. Download fixtures made by Act Lighting. That's all under that. And what happens is it becomes a zip file that you then can upload into your desk. One of the things we've been dealing with, for example, is unfortunately the range of no-name fixtures on the market. Let's call it that. They don't have a manufacturer name. They don't even name the fixture. All you get is the photos of the DMX sheet. Well, it was very hard to find a matching fixture profile for that, even if somebody made it, because what did they name it? Now you could search by footprint, which is really cool. So for example, I'm going to say the first channel is dimmer and the second channel is mix color, right? Color mix. Okay. 1, 2, 3. This is wrong. Mix color, sorry. RGB. And then maybe the next one is a color wheel, and the next one might be under beam, and it's a shutter. Now, the beauty of this is that if you put all these attributes in, but actually red is channel 3 and green is channel 2, conduct the search, and it didn't find anything that matches that, which is not good. If this was a real fixture, let's try this again. Get rid of there we go. Okay, so a list of fixtures here exist that might be more than 5 channels. This is not limited to 5 channels, but it means all of these fixtures contain dimmer, red, green, blue, and shutter in this channel order. Now you notice you have this checkbox that says don't search by channel numbers, and now you're just going to get a list of everything that contains those 5 attributes, which is probably going to be quite a gigantic list. So I urge you to take advantage of that. It's this little foot symbol up there. So I hope you find that fun, exciting. It's definitely good for us. It centralizes the whole fixture management process. Any above? Think I missed anything, Cass?
No, I think it is really exciting to see you go through all that. Although, how do we deal with like MA1 fixture profiles? How do I deal with everything that was already on MA_share? How are we dealing with MA_share now?
So, like I pointed out earlier, you still have the Fixture Archive. I should mention, by the way, this new Fixture Share site is also for .2, if you're a .2 user. However, MA1, that product is discontinued, so anything further related to fixture profiles will still exist and be posted at mashare.net. mashare.net is not going anywhere. This is still a forum for communication. All we did is that instead of hosting files in a forum. They're now on a server that can better handle a file database, basically.
Cool.
So that's one of the things that we did in the cloud. Another thing we did in the cloud for this release is, maybe you noticed over the last release with 3.2, the help manual didn't really seem that updated. It's because all the work was being done in the new Guru and MA2 help manual. It follows the same technology that was used by the .2 help manual. So go ahead and bookmark the new link. Is going to be help2.malighting.com. Suppose I could chat this to all of you and maybe click on it. That takes you to all the manuals for the .2, for the Gren MA2, for the MA switch, for the whole range of everything. And then when you click on Gren MA2, you're presented with the new help manual. I know one of those questions we got a lot is there an easy way to get a print version of the manual? Well, now each page gives you the option of open the topic as a PDF. There is a way. I should have. Yeah. So I don't remember where the button is that you can basically print the whole thing if you wanted to. Sorry, we'd have to come back to that. If you're one of those people that really need that, and you're based in North America, you can email us or contact your local distributor. Basically, it's a new organizational structure, easy access to the 3D manual, easy access to the BPU manual. All the information is there, it's just redone. So if you read the old manual, I would encourage you to read the new one, because it's generally the same stuff but rewritten. Is there anything specific I should point out here, Kat?
No, this is just the most exciting new feature to me, because it is really filled with so much more information, and it's so much more detailed. And yeah, if there was something that you had searched for previously and it wasn't there, it most likely is there now. And so it's definitely worth taking a look at.
And if you're ever trying to help your friends and want to send them a link to a help manual page and highlight the specific term, there's a cool little feature built in where the final word in the URL actually gets highlighted on the page. So since parameters was at the end there, it's highlighted, whereas if I remove that final word, it's not actually going to be highlighted. So you might receive links from your support team where the word is actually highlighted, and for us that's a handy feature. And
don't forget that it's also available just like this in the new software as well.
So what this new manual actually did for us is make it easier to interact with in the new software. So the same manual is in the software. It's able to cross-link better and easier to work with within the software. So definitely worth going through. Remember, there's those shortcuts, help, tap on the title bar. It takes you to the page about the fixture sheet, and help followed by.
There's also a lot more links within the actual explanations as well. So if there are handy topics within what you're reading, it's already going to link you to other handy topics, and I like that feature as well.
Yep.
Very nice to see.
So definitely a good one. If you're thinking of upgrading to 3.3, remember, we attempt to communicate with you as much as possible, so we highly encourage you to read the FAQ page. This is contained on our support hub. One of the things that's very important is sometimes we list off those so-called unintended features. Maybe other people call those bugs. We like to work with them. There is a some slight trouble with the special speed group labeled BPM when it's assigned to an effect. So if you actually use that function, you probably shouldn't upgrade yet. Speed group 1 through 15 though, no problem. Also, we have some notes here if you're using an MA switch. There's just a specific way that you have to upgrade. And for anybody that still needs the 3.2 links, those are still available. So remember, support.aclighting.com, lots of information. We even have a new recommended computer for all you on-PC users. You can come check out the new computers, very small form factor. PC, rack mount PC, and then, you know, we still have the CyberNet relationship. So don't forget about that. I know a question from 3.2, one of the problems, if I just go back here, was the embedded presets. We're not updating any embedded preset that was used in a queue. If you update it wasn't updating, that bug has been fixed. So if you're an embedded preset user, sorry for that bug in 3.2. It's now fixed in 3.3. Okay, some of the other things, pan tilt offset. For example, if your fixtures are hung, my mouse is being weird. If your fixtures are hung kind of 90 degrees off to the, 90 degrees sideways, well, that throws off all your programming. We now have an offset function per fixture where you can come in here and you can say, hey, I want to offset my pan 90 degrees positive or 90 degrees negative. Other uses might be, you have all your fixtures mounted on the bar like this. If you see my little fingers on the bottom left of the screen, well, these are all kind of a little off camber just because of how it's hung. Some people might choose to update their presets, or you could use, tilt offset to adjust it by 0.1 or 0.05. Now, coming into the patch and doing that is a little cumbersome, so of course we're a step ahead of you with the predefined macros. If you go to a macro editor, load predefined down the list to the P, nope, I passed it. Offset, there we go. So you get a whole list of offset, sorry, that's off page. Offset prepare pan, offset pan plus 0.5, minus 0.5, prepare tilt plus 0.5, minus 0.5. Prepare just sets them back to 0. So you might want to add these to your show. What that does is this macro says select the fixture, so I'm going to work with this one and adjust it by 0.5 up and down until you're happy with it. Or in this case, since it's pan.
Hey, Will, we actually have a question about the difference. So this is a new feature in 3.3, but what is the difference then between the pan tilt invert and then the encoder invert? So because these are 3 completely different features, so can you just clarify between the 3?
Yeah, so invert is actually inverting the DMX value. So what that generally would do for you, if your fixture is going to the right and you really want it to go to the left, you would invert pan. Now it's going to go to the left instead of the right based on the direction of the DMX. So basically, if the software says, it says all the way to the extreme left of pan, because fixtures generally have a stop point all the way to the left, invert would send 255 instead of 0. Tilt, the other situation, if your tilt is at 45 degrees this way and you invert it, now it's going to be negative 45. Encoder invert is just the direction you spin your encoder wheel for that fixture. So if you like to spin your encoder wheel to the right and have your fixtures tilt down stage, depending on how some of those are hung, maybe spinning the encoder to the right is actually tilting those upstage. So this is where you can just invert the direction of the encoder on your actual console. And then pan offset is a new feature. So if you store a value of 1 for pan, but your offset is 1, it means that we stored a value of 1, the offset is 1, which means you're actually outputting a value of 2. So these are the 3 different uses of that. Think I clarified that?
Yep, you're going a little bit fast though, so definitely get a little less excited about this new version.
For any of you that used to work on Grand MA1, well, we brought back a little feature where you can assign a world to a user profile. And all this means is that anytime that user profile is logged in, they are locked to that specific world. It just prevents the accidental, oh, I forgot to choose world 2, I'm sorry, and then I deleted all your queues. Where to use worlds, you might have a moving light programmer and a key light programmer, or you might have a moving light and a video programmer, or maybe you're in a school and you're sharing the work where one person gets to do the downstage truss and the other person gets to do the upstage truss in a multi-user environment. What does the new help manual say about worlds? Let's see. Worlds, filters, and masks. So if you don't know what worlds are used to limit the access to fixtures and attributes. See this help manual still?
Wow, that's so succinct, actually. I don't think we could have come up with that, Will.
Right. But you follow the links, and you get to a whole big explanation of what worlds actually do, how they operate. So now you get a way to force that world onto a specific user profile. Okay. All of you may have noticed in 3.2 we implemented RDM. RDM is a way to communicate with fixture. It's a way for the fixtures to talk to the console, and a way for the console to talk to the fixtures outside of DMX. So you change settings on the fixtures, see the status of sensors, etc. For the most part, you had to plug that 5-pin DMX cable directly into a Grand MA2 product, whether it be a console, MPU, or export node. This 3.3 release implements RDM over the ArtNet protocol. So that means same functionality, but via ArtNet, you're talking to an ArtNet node that then is a 5-pin cable to a fixture, or maybe you have fixtures that support ArtNet. But there's a very, very important caveat. You must check with the manufacturer of your ArtNet products to find out if they've even implemented RDM over their ArtNet connections. It's not so common. For example, Claypacky fixtures, which we distribute, can be controlled via ArtNet, but they do not offer yet RDM over that ArtNet connection. I know somebody asked if we've tested ArtNet nodes. We have not. Our own nodes, the export nodes, if you run them in ArtNet mode, they will work with RDM over RDM over ArtNet. So the RDM guide, I think we did a Tech Talks on this, right? Yeah, right there. So if you just want to learn about RDM, check out our Tech Talks playlist. You'll find RDM features, how that operates. Cool?
Sounds good.
Yep. All right. If anybody has ever dealt with individuals in a effect, we now finally have a keyword that takes care of this. So how can I recreate this? So we have a perfect effect object here, which has no individuals in it, but if I come into here and I'm going to go to phase and one fixture at a time, I'm just going to type in various phase values. Go away, Windows. Always do that. Do some kind of swipe function in Windows. And we'll go to 200. So these phases are not in order. And what we'll do is we'll store that to that effect object. What that means is you get this little kind of pink salmon color background. It means that it says 0 to 330, but because I have kind of random phase values that are individuals, there's now a keyword. You used to have to come in here and hit this button there's now a keyword for it. So if I do a little, oh, that actually worked. I meant to do command help. So you could see remove individuals is the keyword. So what I would say is remove individuals effect 129. Yes, I do. So I say OK. And now the salmon background color is gone. So a lot of people are excited about that. It happens a lot when you're doing PSR and bringing data from other places. You can get a lot of individuals. Just so you're not caught off guard, if you ever see it, the user settings have what's called a high contrast mode for programmer colors. So historically, you've heard us talk about active information. Active information is usually red text, red background. High contrast is still a red background, but it's a white value. And if you clear twice, deactive data that's still in your programmer is still red text. It's high contrast is merely talking about the values when it's actually active in your programmer. Red on red, sometimes difficult to read depending on who you are. Okay, I'm not forgetting about PSR, we'll get there. Two more things. We have a store mode for XYZ. If you are a user of XYZ, you may want to force every time you store a queue to store XYZ values. The reason we added this is that you cannot simultaneously store pantilt and XYZ data to a queue. But you may want to adjust your fixtures using pantilt, but always store the data as XYZ. You would utilize XYZ commonly for stage markers, for example, because fixtures would follow stage markers. So that's why people will program with XYZ, but sometimes it's hard to wrap your head around how to control a fixture with XYZ on the encoders. It's easier to do it via pantilt. So you might want force storing as XYZ. Keep in mind, I know I'm going fast because I'm so excited. We're recording this, so we should be able to post it. I'm assuming the recording will work, so don't worry, you'll have a chance to go back and review. If none of you are using our MA switch, I would encourage you to do so. In particular, we added a very exciting new feature, network redundancy. So it's becoming more and more common that people don't want to run one single fiber or Ethernet cable between front of house and stage. They want to run two. Well, some of the features used on the market are not so accommodating of the MANet protocol, per se, depending on who's setting it up. Now, in the MA switch, we've taken a feature from, the upper echelon of IT networking, yada yada, put it into the MA switch. Now you can run 2 or 3 or 4 cables between your switches, front of house and backstage, and if any of those cables break, it will have zero effect on your session. Your show will keep running and it's no problem, even if that cable is intermittent. And you get the status directly from the desk. It tells you if one of those links goes down, so then you can get somebody working on that problem while you continue to do your show because the data is flowing down the other link. So definitely encourage you, if you need more info, contact your local sales or support team and find out how that works. Definitely very cool. All right, the big one, PSR, right? Okay, partial show read. So you go to a festival, all right? This is the actual show. So you go to a festival, they have Sharpies 1 through 5, fixture IDs 1 through 5. They have dimmers 11 through 15. Very simple example here. You have group 1 and 2. You have a position, number 1, and you have 3 colors in color pool slots 1 through 3. All right, that's great. Now the LD from the guest band walks up and he says, hey, can you put your fixtures and my presets into your show file? Then you go, I would love to, but I have to use PSR. Oh man, PSR is very confusing. We have done a bunch of work. We've cleaned it up. We've made it way more intuitive, hopefully to reduce all those confusing questions. In the past, you used to have to move your presets out of the way before you're doing your PSR. You used to have to repatch your fixtures, all the above. We can avoid that now. Remember, you do have to leave session before you do a PSR. So we're going to leave session, and we're going to go to the backup menu. We're going to partial show read initialize. I want to read from this show. This is the guest LD's show. I just realized something. I just showed you the show I'm keeping. Let me quickly show you the guest LD's show just so you can see that I have conflicts. The guest LD has alpha 800s. They're also fixture ID 1 through 5, which would conflict with my Chirpies. I have a position in slot 1 called downstage right. I have a group 1. I have 3 colors in the same exact spots. So I'm going to show you how the new PSR menu means that you don't have to go and remove all this, move this stuff around. So we're back to the show that we want to keep. We're going to partial show read the guest LD's show. And you can see I have a conflict here. So green is what I want to keep. The left-hand side is my show. The right-hand side is the guest show, the guest's show. In particular, I want to read these fixtures, but I can't because if there we go. If I choose to read these, it's going to delete my Sharpies, so that's not a very good idea. So right within the PSR menu, I am going to change these IDs to 101. So now I can choose these fixtures, which means I get to keep mine and I get to read the guest LDs. And sometimes we have a new option, use 3D positions. So of course I want to use the 3D positions of these alpha profiles, but I want to keep my stage set up that's in 3D. Did I make that clear?
Very clear, yeah.
So we're going to prepare. Double DMX addresses were detected. Well, it's sort of expected. I'm in a different environment anyway. Guest LD's bringing these fixtures in. We'll go check that later. Now we want to bring the data in. So partial show read. What do I want to bring in? I want to bring in some presets. Maybe move this to the big screen, a little easier to see. Some groups. Okay, well, I showed you the guest LD show. It was the alpha profiles. They were set to group 1, but it's showing up as group 3 because by default it's doing an automatic match. You can have it matched by number, which means now they would conflict, but these are 2 totally separate show files, so I don't want them to conflict. If you were reading data from the same show file at different time periods, maybe you want to read this group to overwrite the one in your current show, because maybe the newer data is better. I don't know. It's up to you. You could also match by name, if you're, reds, blues, greens, yellows, downstage right, downstage left, etc., or automatically match, keeps them out of the way. Now, if I did match by number, because maybe numbers is all I know, the beautiful thing is I can select it, I can move it down the list, and then add the selected item. Oh, be still my heart. So cool. It just got 1,000 times easier to PSR. So we can see my 2 groups are still here, and the alpha 800 group from the other show file is now there. Could do the same thing. If we match by number, you can see they would conflict, but I want the other show file to be number 5, add selected item. And with color, the neat thing, you can lasso. Yeah, move these down here. I'm going to put those at 11, add selected. If we take a look at the preset pools, you can see they're here. magic. And you can even get down to the queue level if you wanted to. I would suggest maybe by sequence. We would actually highly suggest read by the whole sequence. If you need a singular queue, it's actually better to read the whole sequence in. You know, you can always move it to an out-of-the-way place and then copy the queue to the existing sequence. Trying to read individual queue, you never know what's going to happen with the tracking. If you do an actual copy or a move, you can get the pop-up on the spot related to tracking. So, the new magical world of PSR. I hope you guys find it awesome. So we'd do actual show, and we would did change the date. Why is my computer on May 17th? Technology. Anyway, you are going to find that, remember that warning we got that the patch address is conflict, so that's normal. If you read something that conflicts, it's just going to become unpatched, so you would have to jump in, and maybe this is Universe 3. That's PSR.
That was a nice little overview.
Look at my clock, my date, everything changed all of a sudden. Do we have time for questions?
We definitely have time for questions.
All right.
I have some important questions here. So this is a set of questions that every release we get. So I'm gonna group these together for you.
All right.
All right. So part 1 of 3 here. Would you recommend this version? Should I question the stability? And what are things to watch out for when moving from 3.2 to 3.3? I would say these are the most common questions.
Yeah, it's the same answer every time. You are in charge of your shows. Therefore, would you like to blindly believe that all your show data will move forward without issue? Depends on the environment. You know that 3.2 has been out for a very long time. You know that your support teams around the world are very familiar with all the little kind of nuances of it, and you know your community of users are very familiar. 3.3 is brand new. Maybe somebody didn't find anything. Now, we try to communicate with you. Remember, we have here one particular thing that we found that might not be good. If we find anything else, we post it here. Thankfully, we haven't found anything that we would consider, a catastrophe. But I didn't actually open the release notes. The release notes are some 40 pages of changes. So that means, what are the chances that something changed a little bit based on an improvement that you had been working around in the past? It's your workflow. It's your choice. We suggest it because it's the next generation of software. It's got better features. It's got new stuff that's worth it working with, but I don't know how else to say it, and really it's up to you. Did I answer those 3 questions?
Yeah. But there is another question related to it that I kind of forgot to add into there, and which is, are embedded presets fixed, Will?
Yeah.
And where can I find that? In fact, you're on there right now.
Oh, in the release notes, if I search for embedded, oh yeah, updating embedded presets does not update the output of the sequence. What that means is that, by the way, I think I explained this once before. This reads as a statement. Yeah, that's a statement of the actual bug. It's flagged as fixed. Every now and then I read through the release notes and I was like, why would they do that? I'm like, oh wait, they fixed that. Got it.
All right then. All right, I have another question in which you should be ready to get some links up and running for, Will. What is the best way for a beginner to learn the MA2?
There's a lot of resources. We can start with classes, and then we can go to topics covered in our classes. So, in particular, this is one of the great starting points. Start with the, Act 101, then start with the fundamental concepts of lighting. Oh, gotta go back. No, what happened to my page I was on? There we go. Then we actually all the topics that we cover in our class are here, and there's actually a help manual link for every single one of these, except for, you know, philosophy and system overview are covered in our bulletins, and new show setup.
Yeah, we create a new show in the class, so
yeah, okay,
there's really no how-to in the
now,
show that we create.
The coolest thing about this grid is that you should read the help manual, and then you should read the bulletin, and then you should read the webinar, and then you should read the fundamentals. You know, just read. That's what you got to do. You can't learn this stuff overnight. You know, how long have I been doing this? For, I don't know, 20 years of lighting, whatever. I've been working with MA for 8-9 years. I still don't know it all. All right, you can't. It is impossible to know it all. There are various ways of doing lighting. Just keep researching, practicing, trying. You get MA3D for free. You get the software for free. Go to your local rental house. Ask them if there's a console you can play on. They might just say yes.
Cool. I think you just answered another question. Someone was asking, what is the best way to learn when you don't own a console? And that is exactly what we're doing right here. Play with the free software.
All this free software on our downloads page. If you want to really start with the beginning, we would suggest .2. You even get a free universe, so you can control your dimmers or a couple of LED lights or something. You get a free universe. .2 is a very specific single way of doing things, the MA way, we call it. I would say start there. It's a great starting point, especially if you've never programmed before. Once you get comfortable with .2, then you step up to Grand MA2, and your transition will be a lot easier.
Sorry, yeah, I'm reading the plethora of questions here, trying to decide if we want to continue with new software stuff, or I have a good, really random question for you. I'm going to do the random question, and then we'll conclude the actual new feature stuff. Will, is it possible to park just one attribute, such as just my pan or just my tilt?
Yeah. You say park focus. I can't make it any simpler than that. Park and tap on the attribute that you want to park of the fixture that you have selected.
Great.
And I don't remember this. No, it doesn't show you the syntax. If you wanted to know the syntax,
park attribute.
Be park attribute them.
Okay. So that's it for questions. Now I do have one question though, which is if we didn't get to your question, what should you do? Or if you found something in the new software and you're wondering about it, what should you do?
Well, I might encourage you to post on the forum, because that's for the whole community. But if you're based in North America, you can contact us. We are MA North America. Or if you happen to be watching from anywhere else in the world, contact your local distributor. I know in the UK it's Hemisphere, in France Accent. I know there's MA Lighting in Colombia, Japan, China. There's MA distributors everywhere. Contact them for support. And if you don't know who your distributor is, you can always contact MA International, tech.support@malighting.com. They will help you figure out who your local distributor is for support. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It's been a pleasure. Happy programming.
Happy programming.